That's going to drive me nuts.
We're so good at podcasting.
Okay, so Hypnotic, we're calling it episode 4.
Yep.
Even though the first one was kind of trash. But, I mean, they were all kind of trash in their own ways.
I'm going to be honest, I didn't listen to the one with Paul and Savannah. I only listened to like 5 minutes of it, only because it was on your website at the time, and I thought I couldn't lock the phone, while listening to it or something. So I was like, oh. And I was like at work, and I was like, I need to just turn this off.
Yeah.
But now it's on Spotify, so we're good.
Did you listen to the other ones at all?
Yes, both of them. I listened to them all the way through.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I find them very interesting. But I don't know if that's because I know y'all, or I don't know. I was like,
God,
people
I'm
think
blushing.
this is funny, right? And like interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
I listened back to them with Christina, and I was just like sitting there like, oh my God, I need to be taking notes because I just noticed so many things about the way I was talking, or like how awkwardly I would laugh after making a halfway amusing comment. And I'm just like, oh, dude,
I do
that's
that
so
normally,
tacky.
Though.
Yeah.
Not even when I'm stressed, like, because I'm being recorded.
Yeah. I mean, it is kind of stressful. It feels like you need to perform, right?
I feel like there are people watching, and there's not, because it's just us. So.
Yeah. So, anyways, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Who is your favorite sibling, and why is it me?
Oh. I have a lot of siblings. For Savannah, who's listening, she already knows I have 9 siblings. So I don't know how to say it, but I mean, you're one of the favorites, right? You're in my top 5.
All right, fair enough. My fault for putting you on the spot.
Well, just don't tell the others.
That's okay. Well, it'll be our secret.
They're not listening, right?
It'll be our secret.
It's just Savannah, and she's also in my top 5, so it's fine.
Yeah. You don't have to throw
It's
them
fine.
under the bus. It's fine. So,
okay.
yeah.
But yeah, okay. So I'm actually interested to know, because I read something on your blog that said something about you had taught yourself HTML, like, programming. I don't know programming
You read
things.
my blog?
Well, I read your front page when I went to the website to subscribe and all that.
Nice.
Yeah. I've actually been reading a lot. I just didn't know how to use Discord because I'm an idiot. I'm not a gamer. I don't know how to use things. I didn't know how to get to the right channel or whatever server. I don't know the difference.
Fair enough.
So I didn't know how to like respond to stuff, because if I clicked on one of the notifications, it would take me to a different like channel that y'all were talking about something else, and I couldn't find other stuff. Anyway.
Yeah.
I was clicking on the links and like looking at your website. But I mean, obviously I've known you all my life. So, and there are things that I didn't even know that I learned from your blog. How did I learn something about you from your blog?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of things you don't necessarily just share all the time because like it just doesn't come up in conversation. So, but like when I'm, specifically writing about something that like I want to talk about or whatever, then you just discover some new things. But I started getting into HTML when I was 13, just like learning basics of front-end web design, like just using HTML and CSS. And the reason why I got into it was because me and Megan were trying to start a Neopets like fan site type of thing.
My God.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, that's
it's
even better than
cringe.
I can imagine.
Kind of cringe now that I'm talking about it.
But. No.
But yeah.
Everyone look up what Neopets. Savannah, go look up what Neopets is.
Neopets is like OG.
Oh my God.
It was the best.
That's great.
But so we're starting a fan site, trying to put together like guides and stuff just for fun. And so then I kind of started learning HTML and CSS. So I got books from the library and just kind of like read through and was like trying to figure out how to use this stuff and just started designing basic websites. So I don't even remember what I used as a web server. I think maybe Apache or something, but I'm like, I think I ran my own web server, but I don't remember now.
I think the real question is, did the Neopets fan site ever come about?
Well, I mean, it legit was like there was a very rudimentary site, but it was not very good. We'll put it that way.
It's all right, though.
Probably
That's
had
how you
like
learn
a
things.
couple of guides, and I learned a lot.
I listened to your other podcast. I did, actually. I listened to both of them. The second one was kind of fun, but it just felt like a conversation, whereas the first one, I did feel like y'all were talking a little bit more about what the topics you were on.
Wait, when you say second one, you mean?
Oh, I ment after the Paul and Savannah one, the one with Luke. One and two of Luke. Luke and you. I was like, aren't you in all of them?
Second one of me and Luke.
Yeah.
You felt like it was. Like
well, I thought it was fun because like I was like, it was like having a conversation with y'all, but it was kind of just like we were bouncing from topic, which I think we're doing right now.
Yeah, kind of. I'm like.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I thought that one was pretty good, but some people found it hard to follow. So,
but I feel like
it was just us having a conversation. Yeah, that's what I liked about it. Because it was just us just having fun.
I did kind of want to pour some.
Oh yeah, go for it.
I was like, just keep it.
While you're doing that, I'm gonna turn off the fan because I feel like that's probably gonna be super annoying on recording. Sorry, everyone. We'll figure all this out.
We're taking notes. Did I put this back in the right place? I don't think so.
I'm probably gonna listen to that on recording and hate myself for not realizing that, but it's fine. Don't worry about it. Let me check. Yeah, we're good. So, what were we talking about? We were talking about getting into web design, Neopets,
to your programming.
Et cetera.
Yep.
But anyways, yeah, I learned a lot. So ultimately, like the Neopets fan site was like nothing, but I learned a lot. That's what sent me down the like rabbit trail or rabbit hole, whatever the saying is, of just like getting into programming and web design, web development, that kind of thing. And so I just kind of built on that knowledge and learned other programming languages as well. So yeah, that started pretty young. I didn't really get into it seriously until probably about 16, and I kind of re-picked it up and learned some new things and how to incorporate JavaScript and PHP and, server-side scripting type stuff. Because like making a basic website is pretty easy with HTML and CSS, but when you need to manage a lot of web pages and they need to have a consistent UI across all of them, you need some kind of server-side scripting language to make everything dynamic. So instead of pulling in the layout for each individual page, you're like pulling in the content, if that makes sense, like pulling the content in for the page that's getting requested. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the web design, web development. I'm like, I don't want to bore people too much with that.
Yeah, I'm not a programmer, so I don't understand a lot of those words. I understand that they are, like, I don't know if I'm going to say the right word. I'm like, are they programs that you program on? I was like, is that right? I don't know.
Don't even worry about it. I'm like,
listen, I think it's very cool, but not in a million years would I have at 13 wanted to rent books from the library to learn how to make a website. I'm going to be honest.
I thought it was pretty fun.
I think it's very interesting that you did, and I'm interested in people who do that, but I don't know that I would have the discipline to stick with it,
Yeah.
Like there are other things that interest me that I will stick with.
So I think what was really cool for me to figure out during that process was like, that was the first time in my life that I really like had a goal in mind, and I basically had a problem that I wanted to solve, and I sought out the resources to learn how to do it, learned it, and started doing it. And that was kind of like a light bulb moment for me where I was like, oh, like I can just literally learn anything I want using the library or Google or whatever. Like, it's all about being able to find the resources and use the resources. Because, like, back then, we didn't even have, like, iPhones and Google and stuff.
Right.
I'm like, it's like, it's so much more accessible today, but most people don't really access that because they're mostly spending their time on social media and just browsing and consuming content, which is our other topic, is like content consumption, because that's super interesting to talk about and think about where we're headed in like, in content creation and stuff like that. But yeah, that was just like a clicking moment for me to just go, oh, like I could teach myself anything. If I want to be a mechanic, I could get books from the library, learn how to be a mechanic and work on my own stuff.
I changed my own spark plugs using YouTube. So I'm a mechanic.
Yeah, there's not much in my life that I haven't tried to DIY, But there are a lot of things that I've tried to DIY and gone, you know what? I'm going to stick with some other things that
Right. It may not be worth my
more
time.
specialized for.
Yeah. To invest so much in being a mechanic. I would rather take it to a mechanic. Like, I could change my own oil. I choose not to because I would rather use my time doing something else.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it also helps you, like, respect them, too. Like, having tried to DIY stuff, it's like, oh, I respect that this guy's, you know, skills and time are better spent on this than mine because he could figure out in half the time that I could. So that's the beauty of specialization, you know.
And it's good to try some things, you know, because, like, a lot of people say, oh, everyone should have, like, a service job so that you know to treat service people like humans, because some of y'all really don't know how to act.
Yeah, I know, right? All the Karens of the world.
Oh, yeah. They're fun. Anyway. But, yeah, I am interested in the content consumption kind of thing because, honestly, a lot of that, though, I see, like, there's a lot of it that you can get that is educational. Like, I follow some people randomly, like, I'll just shout out Sharon Says So right now, but, like, she's America's government teacher. She's amazing, and I learned so much. Like,
we
she's
need
an
more
actual
people like her.
teacher. Yes. Okay. Yes. But I'm like, that's the kind of content I want to like, and more people get into this, like, oh, actual people who know something about something. Yeah. Like, she's an actual government teacher, so she knows what she's talking about.
And absolutely, there's nothing wrong with content consumption. I'm not like shitting on people who sit around and browse Facebook all day.
We all do it sometimes.
Well, usually it's YouTube for me, but yeah, that's me a lot. Sometimes I'm just sitting around.
I never do Facebook. It's like Instagram or YouTube.
So that's interesting. Why do you think that? So what's your beef with Facebook? Because I have some opinions about Facebook, and I've like Christina shared her opinions about Facebook. I'm like, it kind of feels to me like Facebook's kind of a dying platform right now.
It really does. It's always felt like that for me. So ever since I got one, I was like, not for me. Mostly just because the people on my Facebook are not my actual friends or actual people my age.
Yeah.
So, like, in the beginning, I think one of my siblings created my Facebook and just, like, friended, like, random distant family members. So I just have, like, a bunch of, like, mom's cousins and, like, mom's friends are my friends on Facebook. And I just...
Have you ever thought about just going through and cleaning them out and just, like...
Then I would have no one left on Facebook except for my siblings,
so,
I think.
like, nobody your age, like, really uses Facebook?
No.
Why do you think that is?
No clue. They all feel like their mom's friends are on there. I don't know if we just want to separate ourselves. Because, like, I mean, my mom follows me on Instagram.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like my mom's friends are all over my Instagram. I don't know why that's a thing. But
well, I used to...
it's just weird.
I used to use Instagram a lot more for posting. And, like, I would still just kind of, like, browse Facebook. Because, like... To me, like, Instagram was, like, a tighter group of people because I had way less followers on Instagram and I knew them better. Like, the problem with Facebook, part of the problem is that, like, everybody feels like you have to be friends with everyone you know on Facebook. And, like, then you become more selective about what you want to share and what you don't because you're like, I haven't seen so-and-so in 2 decades. Like, I don't know where they are in life or, you know, whether or not they're going to shit on me for my post about whatever, like... So
I said a cuss word. Not just now. I just meant, like, you know, somebody's going to get on you for saying a cuss word.
Yeah, exactly. Like on Facebook. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, that was kind of like my thing. I was like, I didn't even want to, like, use it because...
I also feel like the culture's a little different on Facebook. Like, people are less likely... I don't know. On Instagram, I see less comments that are, like,
negative, derogatory?
Personal.
Oh.
Yeah, but, like, derogatory personal. But, like... on Instagram, it's more like, oh, you look great, because it's usually associated with a picture. So it's like, oh, you look fire, you know, like that kind of comment. But there's not like a... I don't know what to say. I was like, I don't want to say something too specific, but...
like personal specific? Or I don't know.
I was like, I don't want to get political or anything, but like people saying really weird stuff out of left field. Like, you could post a picture at the zoo with your children.
Left field?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We are welcoming up all political. I don't know. I'm trying to do with that. No, but like you could post a picture at the zoo with children on Facebook, and they'd be like, "Why are you wearing masks? This is America," and you're like,
"Oh my God,
what?"
That.
And on Instagram, I just don't see that. Like, I mean, I'm sure it is there, but I feel like people are less likely to do it on Instagram.
You just almost got me on a rant about masks.
I'm sorry.
Before we go,
we could talk about masks because
it's not.
Okay.
Unless you want to, I'm like.
I was like, listen. I understand people don't like wearing them, whatever. But if somebody if there's a sign on the door, I'm gonna wear one.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only thing that I don't get is
I'm not gonna fight people on it. I don't care.
I get the whole argument of government should not be infringing on people's freedoms and blah blah blah.
This is not the battle to die on.
When you're talking about specific privately owned businesses and you're like, oh, they require a mask, I'm going to turn around and leave on principle. I can't be shopping here. I don't understand that because what is the principle? That they're trying to control you? Like, if you walked up to a store and you're not wearing a shirt and it's like, no shoes, no shirt, no service, do you walk away on principle? I'm just confused because there's certain social norms that we kind of expect, and a privately owned business has every right to require that kind of thing. But that being said, I'm like, if it was something crazy, I'm trying to think of an example. You can't, or you have, if it was you have to wear one of those, what are they called? The little religious hat, the little circle hat. I'm like,
I don't know what that one's called. I know what the hijab is.
Is it a yarmulke?
Is it a yarmulke? Is that what it's called?
I think that's what it's called. If it was you can't shop here unless you wear a yarmulke, I'd be like, whoa, that's kind of weird. Why would you want me to? Yeah, why would you want me to ascribe to your religion just to shop here or whatever? I would be like, yeah, leave on principle. But I don't understand the mask thing. It's what is the principle? They're trying to control you? I mean, really, my guess is they're probably looking out for the rights of the other people who they're other people might get sick from you, so let's protect them. That makes total sense to me.
Which, I mean, I've heard a lot of Asian countries do that anyway. People
when they're sick, they just...
Yeah, not everyone wears masks all the time, but
it's you don't have to tell them
they have allergies, they don't know if it's sickness or not. They put on a mask because they don't know who they're going to be around.
Because, you don't want to get people sick, right? But you also got to work. So, wear a mask.
Right.
Now we can't work and we have to wear masks. Right. And it's kind of fucked. Anyways.
Yeah.
So, and then, the one other point I wanted to make was, too, it's people, cover their mouth when they sneeze, right? Mm-hmm. And it makes total sense. It's courteous. But no one really believes, we don't really believe, oh, yeah, my arm is going to block out, all, viral matter or whatever else might get on you. We all know that it's not doing shit, but we still do it out of courtesy. So why is it so hard to wear a mask just to be courteous to someone else? It probably does nothing. Who knows?
Don't stick your finger in someone else's food. It's just
it just seems courteous.
Yeah, it's
right.
It's not that serious.
I'm done with my mask rant.
Yeah, no. Basically, my whole thing about them was just it ain't that serious.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's all.
There are real battles out here to fight, man.
But really, a lot of them, I'm just it ain't that serious.
Yeah, it ain't that serious.
It ain't that serious.
So, what we gonna talk about?
Here's the 7-minute lull. Anyway.
We're 20 minutes in. We haven't talked about anything.
Yes, let's talk about our other political beliefs. I'm just kidding. We're not gonna do that.
Or we should probably move on to content creation and stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
So you should probably tell me about the digital world we're entering because.
Okay, so yeah.
Some people are scared and some people are excited.
Yeah.
What?
Stemming from our conversation the other day, basically, there's this guy, Andrew Yang, which a lot of people are probably familiar with him by now. If you're not, he was a Democratic presidential candidate for 2020, and his whole campaign was based off of We Need UBI because there was a study done by Harvard recently where they basically predicted that 50% of all jobs would be automated by I think it was 2025, but I could be getting the date wrong. It might have been like 2035.
You want me to fact check you?
Yeah, you could go ahead and look that up while I continue to talk about this, because like we already talked about it. But
it's for the people.
So anyways, he was campaigning on the fact that like we need UBI fast, because if 50% of all the jobs are gone, you know, people are going to need something to sustain them. And you should go look up, you know, if you want to know more about him and his platform, you can go look up what exactly he was suggesting and why. I'm not going to get too detailed, but and I actually, listening to him talk on Joe Rogan's podcast, I kind of was like, this is the first guy that I could hear saying this, and I'm not like, oh, you're a socialist. It's like, oh, wait, like he actually has some pretty decent points. But whether or not we need UBI, I'm not going to get into that discussion because I'm not very politically minded. I'm not super insightful on that area. I do have some thoughts.
Nothing's ever that simple that you're just like, oh, yes, or oh, no, you know?
Right. But I did have some thoughts on like the whole automation trend and where we could be going, because like if you think about it, automation is going to free up a lot of time. If people are working 8 hours a day, 40 days a week, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, you know what I'm talking about. That's a lot of time. That's a lot of time that's going to be freed up once the so-called automation replaces all of our jobs, right? So from that standpoint, so part of why I want to get into content creation is because I believe that part of what that time will be filled doing is A, content consumption, and B, content creation. I think that the market is so large for content consumption that there's a lot of room for new content creators to enter the market. Essentially, we have unprecedented levels of technology that we can just access content 24/7 anywhere we're at. Like if you're at the doctor's office and you're in the waiting room, what are you doing? You're browsing your phone. Like we didn't used to have phones. We didn't used to be able to like listen to podcasts in the waiting room or do whatever. Like those technologies have only recently existed. So from that standpoint, I really feel like the market is huge, and it can definitely absorb a lot of new content creators entering the market. So, so my first point was that like content, the market for content is going to be increasing rapidly.
Right.
And then the second reason why content creation specifically has me very interested and why I'm kind of like investing time and money getting into doing some things is because passive income. Like, I saw some YouTube videos. Who was it? I think it was Graham.
It's always Graham.
Yeah, it's always Graham. I saw one of his videos where like he explained like how he got his Tesla for free kind of thing. It's like all clickbaity and you click in the video. Basically, the whole premise of it was like he made a YouTube video about buying his Tesla. And from that YouTube video, like he makes enough money every month to pay his lease or whatever. So basically his Tesla is free to him. And then he went into some other math of like the tax write-offs and things like that also made it, super low interest rate, things like that made it to where he was able to get it like free. And that's
how, really you get free, I'm doing air quotes, free stuff. It's really you hack whatever.
Hack the system.
Like credit card hacking's real. I'm sorry, Dave Ramsey, you really messed me up as a child because I thought
credit cards were evil.
Yes, I thought that the bank was just going to own me. Mm-hmm. But no, I own them. That's how this works.
Yeah, that's how this relationship works.
That's how this works.
100%, man. People should be taking more advantage of those things because I'm like, why not do it? If they're going to offer free money, just take it. Take it.
Yeah.
You never have to use that credit card again.
Right? I'm like, you don't... Okay, yeah. Just, if there are any 18-year-olds out there who also heard that that credit cards are evil. You don't actually pay interest on it unless you don't pay what you spent on the card. So if you pay it before your statement or whatever, you don't pay interest on it. It's literally the same amount you would have paid just paying out of your debit card, but you're getting points for it.
Yeah. I knew I should have checked that SD card. It's full. So now I'm like, we got it. Well, we got it recording on the video. Hopefully I can just pull the audio from there. I'm just worried if there's any issue with the audio on the video. Like,
do you want to change something? We can pause.
No, we'll just keep going because
okay.
I'm like, if we lose it, we lose it.
Man, we were gonna get into some interesting stuff now.
We're still gonna get into interesting stuff.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Oh.
I was like, because the financial stuff, because we nerd out on that shit. So
yeah.
I was like actually really excited. I wrote in my notes like, let's talk about passive income. I was like, I'm very excited.
Passive income investing is the way.
And there's so many different kinds of forms of it. Like, I also watched Nate O'Brien. Like, he was on Graham's podcast, and he does stuff. Well, now he's more into like minimalist stuff, which I actually enjoy that stuff too, because like that's like along the same lines of the financial people, because if you're not like buying stuff and then you're reusing what you already have, kind of more in a sustainable kind of way anyway. That's a whole other thing I'm into, but probably because I'm Gen Z and we're like weird and eco stuff, but don't hate us because you ain't us. Okay. All right.
They hate us because they ain't us.
But
you said it with a T.
But I know. I was like, should I or should I not? But it's weird. Like, everyone I know that's like Gen Z thinks I'm a millennial, and all the other generations know I'm Gen Z. So it's like, do you think I eat Tide Pods, or do you think like I just don't work? Like, people are like, you're a millennial. Oh my gosh, you're so a millennial. No, I just eat avocado toast. Okay, it's good. Try it. I make it at home. Okay, so don't be at me with the you could save so much money if you just didn't eat your avocado toast. No, I make it at home. It's very cheap. I've done the math. I did a Graham Stephan thing. It's less than $1. Okay.
Yeah.
Screw you.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not eating out, like, you can get away with eating better food, which I know is a shocker. It's like, crazy.
I'm eating avocado toast and not McDonald's. Why are you adding me right now? Leave me alone.
Right. By the way, you're like getting really close to the mic.
I shouldn't.
You want to keep it like about this far. So this short, is the ideal range, but it's like you keep doing like this, and I'm like, that's probably too close, but. Anyways,
I can't tell.
What were we talking about? Sorry.
Oh, I was Gen Z.
Gen Z. Yeah, the stereotyping is real, man.
It's very weird though. Because Gen Z thinks I'm a millennial, which makes no sense to me.
If everybody could just like wear their stereotypes on their clothing, and just be like, "This is what I think you are," just because you're a thing, like that would be easier. But
it's in our brains. We just categorize people as things, and we're like, you are like this because that's a shortcut my brain has to tell me whether you're a threat or not. It's a real thing. Like, I've read about that.
Yeah.
So it comes a lot from like our survival instincts. Our stereotypes come from that, is we just have shortcuts in our brain that tell us, oh, nope, this might be a threat. This person's okay. I think very weird.
Yeah, I think generalizations are important to be able to make like accurate generalizations, but I think the problem is people are not aware that they're generalizing, and that like, hey, when you're dealing with an individual, that's when you need to stop generalizing.
Like, Micah, you're such a millennial. You just want to be an individual.
Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about, because like I feel like this is a important concept for people to know. It's like, if you're walking down a dark alleyway and you see a 70-year-old old lady walking towards you, are you going to be scared and run away? No. Statistically, she's no threat to you.
Right.
So you're always analyzing threats.
I might walk her home.
Now, if you see a male wearing a hoodie with the hood over his head and you can't see his face, and he's got his hands in his pocket, things like that, he could be completely benign. But you're definitely going to be
Definitely
more
gonna
on high
watch
alert.
him.
You're going to be more on high alert. And I think it's something like, there's some statistic like 98% of all, or 98% of men, sorry, 98% of all violent crimes are committed by men.
I know what you're trying to say. You know what also is a weird statistic I heard?
What?
Sorry, this is totally left field. This is nothing. But I was listening to a crime podcast because that's what I listen to a lot. It's the Morbid podcast. They had quoted some statistics, so I haven't looked it up. So I'm just trusting that they looked it up and it's real. But they said 80% of drowning victims in the U.S. are men. I'm like, why do men drown more?
Yeah, well, that's actually an interesting conversation. First of all, I would love to know the answer to that.
Yeah.
It probably has to do with maybe being more aggressive and taking more risks, because it seems like I've heard people say it. Like, I don't know, I haven't looked up the literature, but they say that like men are
right.
Like they take more risks in general, and like women tend to be more risk averse. Now you have exceptions to that. Like I said, it's important. Like it's okay to generalize. Like I think we should be able to establish like it's okay to generalize, but what's not okay is to judge individuals based on generalizations. So
words of wisdom from Micah.
Yeah. And so on that note, also like suicides, I think are like way heavier slewed towards men, even like specifically white men. I don't know why that's the case, but someone fact check me on it, but I'm pretty sure the statistics kind of skew towards men. I should bring my laptop next time because I could and just then be white men. Checking this right now.
I mean, it's harder to do it on my phone because I can't do Control F and search like for specific parts of articles.
I'm like, I have my laptop right here. I'm just like, it's I don't know. I'm not good at multitasking, so it's hard to have a conversation and like search at the same time. Jamie, look that up. I need my Jamie. Have you never listened to the Joe Rogan Experience?
Oh, I do listen to it.
Jamie, it's his producer. I was like, Jamie, look that up.
I've listened to his one, I think both his episodes with Elon Musk, and then this random lady that talked about vitamin D, which was interesting.
Oh,
and
that was
another
super interesting.
Episode, I forgot what the other one was about, but I do listen to some of his. I kind of forgot about his podcast because I didn't like subscribe to it. I just listened to random episodes because I was out of murder podcasts to listen to.
Well,
I'm sorry. I
subscribe then.
Crime podcasts. Well, okay. If Joe Rogan subscribes to this podcast, I'll subscribe to him.
All right, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. Okay.
If Joe Rogan subscribes to this podcast, I mean, I've done it. I've done it in life, I think, probably. Like, he's probably got way better things to do with his time than listen to me talk. Like, talk to people that are actually interesting on this podcast.
Okay, but we're interesting.
So
he should have us on his podcast.
Just a different kind of interesting.
I know. Normal people are interesting to me because they're more, like, I don't know.
More relatable?
Yeah. Joe Rogan's fine, I guess. He's not really like, oh, I'm in an extravagant mansion and you're lesser. So it's not like, oh, he's some big celebrity that I don't understand. Because he does have, like, normal conversations with people. It's not like you feel like, what?
Yeah. Well,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really get that vibe. I only listen to, like, 4 episodes. I'm sorry.
I really enjoy a lot of the guests that he has on.
Oh, yeah.
I'll say, like, he's similar to me in that he is very curious about everything, and he's willing to talk to anyone about anything kind of thing. And I'm like, I get so fascinated with, like, really random niche topics that I'm like,
guys, look it up.
It seems like no one else would be interested in, but if I'm interested in it, it must be other people. Because, like, I mean, like, Joe Rogan has built his podcast around just talking to interesting people.
And not to mention, like, even if it's something other people haven't even thought of, like, sometimes you just, like, I've literally never thought about vitamin D a day in my life. Not really. And I just happened to listen to a podcast on it. I was like, wow, that was very interesting. Because they also talked about, like...
It is interesting.
Different people from different areas naturally have either better absorption of vitamin D or, like, random things, you know?
You know what else is interesting? So, like, the whole vitamin D thing, when you look at the studies related to coronavirus and how many people are deficient and that kind of thing, like, vitamin D is super important for immune health. And like specifically related to coronavirus. But
we're not going to get into a Young Living thing, but a lot of people, they start out like that and they're like, vitamin now buy my essential oils. Natural, though. And I'm like, I'm not
convinced essential oils are like natural. That's the thing.
I mean, certain people will say that their essential oils are, but other people's essential oils are not. So I don't know. I'm just going to eat whole foods.
You know what's the OG essential oil? THC. I'm like, that's an essential oil right there.
I feel like a lot of them are into CBD at least.
If essential oils were a job, I would declare THC the essential one and not the other ones. You guys can keep working, keep doing your thing.
Yeah, because I mean, you could really eat foods with.
No, I think there's some. No, I think there's some useful essential oils for sure. Because like, or at least for like cleaners, I'm like, like my in-laws gave me a bottle of like Thieves essential oil cleaner, and it was like it works super good, and it's not harsh chemicals, so I don't have to worry about like what am I getting on my food when I drop it on the counter, like, because I think about that with the chemicals as much as I do with the mess, right? Right. Because I'm like, after I spray like some Clorox all over it, I'm like, I don't want bleach on my food, you know. But
yeah, I mean, there's plenty of reasons to use essential oils. I'm not hating on anybody who uses essential oils. I know plenty of people.
No.
That's totally fine.
Do your thing with the essential oils.
You keep doing your thing.
You, Karen.
Yeah, you do you, Karen. Christina and I said we were going to say Marty instead of Karen.
Oh.
And I think you know why.
You, Marty. Whatever.
This will be an inside joke for the ones of us that listen.
So, yeah, so I was going to talk about something else on the whole vitamin D note and coronavirus and stuff. I did some research for a speech that I had to give for my speech class, and I basically wanted to talk about like exercise and why it's important for healthy living and stuff. Yeah, that's pretty good.
So that I'm not.
Yeah, that's probably a good distance. So I did a whole bunch of research on exercise, and apparently what I kept coming up with was like I kept getting these studies where they were talking about how basically, so the statistic that I remember was 2.5 million of the coronavirus related deaths that happened over this last year. 2.2 million of those deaths happened in countries where the obesity rate was higher than 50%.
I believe it.
And I'm like that kind of blew me away, because I'm like 2.2 million of the 2.5 million. And I'd really like to go back and look. I'm trying to remember. It seemed like they had some statistics on that, but I don't remember them off the top of my head. But I'm curious how many of, the 2.3 million deaths were obese, like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or even like of the 2.5 million, what percentage of them were obese? Because like when you think about it like that, you're like, holy shit, all we have to do is cure obesity and we cured the coronavirus, right? But honestly, I mean, there is a lot of confounding variables, but
stuff that not cure. I mean, like you would significantly impact heart disease, which is our number one killer in America. Last time I checked, somebody fact checked us, but last time I checked, heart disease and heart related stuff and like obesity related diseases were like the number one killer in America, at least.
I wonder.
So there's a lot of stuff we could alleviate.
I'm curious what the statistics are. Coronavirus compared to like heart disease related deaths and obesity related deaths this year, because I'm like, do we have an obesity pandemic?
We've always had that. Remember? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you not remember Michelle Obama just like getting all those kids outside 60 minutes? I remember seeing those commercials on
That's
Disney
true.
Channel.
She actually did do something about...
Dude.
Like, she actually attempted to do something about the obesity. I don't know how effective it was. Too. Yeah. And they changed the big one, I think, is that they changed the food triangle. Dude, the food triangle was so jacked, bro.
Back in the day, they thought you just needed milk, bread, and meat.
It was just
like what they wanted you to eat.
Eat like 1,200 servings of grains a day, and it's like,
what is that going to do for you?
Like, who came up with that? Like, you literally, so you could survive and live a really healthy life if you just eliminate all grains, period.
Interesting.
If you eliminate...
you would be fine, not it would help you to...
Well, honestly...
it depends, I guess.
Honestly, I bet that the majority of the population, it would help. Like, they would live a much healthier life if they eliminated all grains from their diet. However, the caveat to that is you can't just replace grains with, overly processed foods and other, like, terrible things. Like, you can't replace it with, processed sugar and stuff.
Keto, just because, like, if you're replacing fruit, which has a lot of carbs, with Alfredo, it doesn't seem like a good...
Well, you can't do the pasta, but... Yeah,
well, no, but I mean,
no, I
stuff
understand
that's
what
just
you're
like
saying.
butter and cheese.
Yeah.
If you're just replacing fruit with butter and cheese, I'm like, how is that better?
Yeah, that's the problem with people who don't really, research the diets you're doing. Because, if you're knowledgeable about what you're doing, a keto diet can be a very healthy diet. But
sure.
If you don't do your research and you're just like, oh, I'm just going to eat sticks of butter and bacon all the time, I'm like, you're going to have problems.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, they don't get in deep enough to be able to, understand the science. And
even if you do, I've had to read some things. I don't know a whole lot about nutrition, which I watch a few people who are nutritionists on YouTube. Again, you can learn anything from YouTube.
Right.
But, again, I don't know a lot about it. But I was in a PE class, and we had to track our food and water, everything, anything we ate or consumed in a day on Chronometer or whatever. You can just put in what you ate and it will give
Chronometer.
It was so interesting.
Yeah.
So you put in, and I kind of had to estimate, some of the measurements, right? Because I'm not sitting there this is a cup of cereal, I wasn't so I could just kind of estimate it, but I was not eating enough calories, just period.
I had that same realization when I had to do a nutrition class. Yeah.
There were a lot of things I was like, wow, I don't eat bad. I didn't eat bad. I was literally eating, hummus and crackers and avocado toast and stuff like that. It's not, amazing, but it's not bad. Right. But then there were so many things I was like, wow, I'm really deficient, and I have a lot of sodium and a lot. I just like salt, okay?
Yeah, I know, right? You know what would be really interesting to do, at least I think would be interesting, is, do a diet where it's, you eat for micronutrients. Yeah. So, what if you were to, set up a diet where you eat 100% of your vitamin C per day, 100% of your, zinc and iron and calcium, all that stuff?
How would you know before you ate it? How would you know before you calculated it on something? How would you know?
So you would have to plan it out pretty good.
Yeah, that would take a lot.
Yeah.
But I would like to see you do that. Will you do that, and then we can have a podcast about it?
Maybe I will.
About your experience. That would be fun.
I will. That would be an interesting experiment to try that, because
if one more person subscribes to this podcast.
Yeah. If we get to 13 subscribers, we will do this.
Micah will do this, and then I will ask him about it.
I'll have to look. I'm I think we're
unless you want to plan my diet, and I'll just follow it.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
Sorry.
I can do that. I'll plan it out. You do it.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay. If you tell me I need 10 grams of something, though, 10 grams of, vitamin C, I'm going to be like, what is that?
Well, you would have... No. It would be
You're going to tell me eat an apple.
Eat 10 grams of almonds, eat, one apple, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you would also, So
I have a lot of digestive issues,
would
so
be...
I would want to be cured at the end.
Yeah. Okay. Oh. We should talk about that and figure out some things, because I'm there are some different diets that you could try. Have you ever tried an elimination diet? Yeah, for real. So I have IBS.
Honestly, Aunt Jordan thinks I do, and it's weird, because she'll be like, oh, you should try this, because she feels like she has... I'm just going to talk about everything on this podcast.
Yeah, let's talk about Aunt Jordan's IBS. Could you get her to listen to this?
No, but she takes peppermint oil, in a capsule, And it helps her. And she told me to
Interesting.
try it. I just haven't gotten it yet. But she said you have to get IV Guard, which is the brand name. Because if
Right.
she tried an off-brand and it didn't work as well, and it has to do with how they encapsulate the peppermint oil. Because if it dissolves too quickly, it doesn't get to your whatever that it helps
Your
with.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
It
know
gets to
exactly what you're
something
talking about.
down here, but if it doesn't make it there first, it doesn't help you.
Yeah. So I used to, or sorry, were you?
No, I was
gonna
like,
say
am I
more
too
about
close
that?
again?
Oh no,
I'm just
no, you're
like,
fine. I used to have what I thought was IBS too, and I also had acid reflux. I had horrible heartburn all the time.
I don't get
and
heartburn.
I don't know. Over the last few
sometimes.
years, kind of
Not
like
a lot though.
experimenting with my diet and just kind of like running experiments on myself, I've just gotten rid of it. Like I don't have issues anymore.
I think I would be really better at trying different things like food wise and trying to eliminate things if I had my own place, just because it's hard to cook for myself, but like it's not my fridge and it's like
No,
I don't always
100%.
have space.
That is a huge struggle.
Yeah, or like someone might be in the kitchen and I can't go in there and cook like because they're cooking, or I don't feel like washing dishes after whatever. I feel like I would be a lot better at it if I lived by myself. But I have eliminated dairy like for a long time. And I was fine, but like I still had issues.
Yeah, it's that. See, I was the same way. I started off eliminating dairy, but and I was like, I knew things helped. Like that helped to get rid of dairy, but I still had a lot of issues. So I was like, it wasn't dairy. Like, might as well just eat dairy again.
Right.
But no, I kept experimenting, cutting out other things until I figured it out.
I don't really know what else to cut out. Like, I mean, I've basically like cut out meat before, like, not a problem, but it's not my issue. Meat is not my problem.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, we'll have to.
Someone help me.
We'll have to talk about it a little bit more and try some things out. Maybe we could do another podcast episode about how it's going.
Well, I feel like
Emma's
I thought
IBS.
we were gonna record multiple today, maybe, because I feel like we have way too much to talk about.
Yeah,
how long have we been
do.
going already?
Also, like I could fix the SD card, and then we could do round 2 with a couple of cocktails. Yep. If you know what I'm saying?
Because I'm gonna have to pee eventually.
Right. But I had a couple more things to say. I just forgot.
We were talking about dairy and digestive issues, no?
Yeah.
Was it on that topic or not?
I think it was. I just completely lost my train of thought, but
you had tried.
I think there's some other things that we could cut out.
I would like to do Whole30, but it's just so difficult.
We should do some content, Emma. Like I tried going vegan for a month, or I tried this for a month.
I could do vegan. Like I almost do vegan normally, just because what I eat is avocado toast.
Have you done vegan before or no? Because I know Autumn was doing vegan
for like more
a
than a
while.
day. She was just vegetarian, I think.
Oh, it was vegetarian.
Yeah, because she would like vegans like way stricter in that like you're not supposed to have any eggs in it. So even bread made with egg, no, and stuff like that. None of that. But I would love to do a vegan diet. I just am afraid I wouldn't eat right in the vegan diet, so then I would feel deficient or like weak, you know? Because you do have to eat certain things so you are sustained through the day. Otherwise, you just feel hungry.
Yeah, and that's definitely an issue. And also another thing.
But I do like seeds and things, so I'm already good at that.
Right. Another thing that I think would be cool to try is like just doing various like celebrity diets, like. I tried out Dwayne Johnson's diet. I'm not going to do that one, though, because he eats, like, a fuck ton of food. Like, I'm not even lying. You guys got to look that up sometime because, like, it's insane. Anyways, but, like, Zac Efron, I could do more of a Zac Efron diet. Like, his cutting diet for Baywatch was basically sorry, I almost had my train of thought back from earlier, and then I was just like,
Zac Efron, Baywatch.
But Baywatch, he his cutting diet was basically he ate grass-fed beef and dark leafy greens. That was all he had.
Wow.
Yeah, that's got to be rough. I kind of, it's so rough that I actually want to try it.
I mean, you go for it. You do that one, and I'll go vegan.
Yeah. Well. Would you try out some other things too? Like, have you looked into the carnivore diet at all?
No, I don't think I would like that.
Joe Rogan talks about it a lot. I think,
like,
I don't think I would like it. But
I wouldn't like it.
I mean, I would do a lot of things I don't like though. I'm kind of weird like
I
that.
think I would hate that one, though. I would rather go vegan.
Like, I've been taking cold showers just to force myself to do stuff
I can't
that's
do that.
uncomfortable. But there's
There are
something
things I will
rewarding about,
do
like, making it
uncomfortable,
through a
though.
cold shower. Because, like, once you get done, and, like, the physical effects are very beneficial as well.
I know. I've read about it. There are certain things that I can't and won't. I can't. No, I just won't.
You better be careful.
I know. I just won't. Okay, there are some things I will put myself through, like, disciplinary things. Okay. Yeah. I have a routine. I do things that I don't want to, you know. I go to school, okay. Listen, I love learning, but we will talk about the education system someday, but
yeah.
It is difficult sometimes. Okay. It is difficult. I love learning. I do not love school.
Same.
Very big distinction there.
You commented on my Instagram post about it was like the quote from Mark Twain where he's like, don't let your education get in the way of learning. And I was like, that, like, when I read that, like, that hit me hard. I was like, yo,
Amen.
like, this last semester, I spent a lot of time on school when I would be, like, curious about things like programming wise that I wanted to go learn, but I'm like, I can't spend time on this right now because I have to do this project that they're telling me to do, which is maybe less beneficial.
Right.
And it's like, I can't allocate my time the way that I want to. And that's frustrating sometimes because then you get to where you're like, am I wasting my time with a formal education? Yeah. Because there's so much you could be learning
or even
with that time.
Even sometimes if classes do assign interesting things and you want to look into it further, or you really want to put more work into it, but you only have a week and then you're supposed to move on to something else and you're like, no, I was still interested in talking about this. Like, why are we moving on now?
Right.
I'm not ready.
Yeah, that's the other thing too.
On.
Like, you might get super curious about a certain topic and you're like, oh, this is important. Let's dive into that. But then you just kind of like brush over it and go on to the next thing. And you're like, oh,
just one discussion post and then we have to do something else.
Yeah. I think for round 2, we're going to have to turn the lights on because I'm like, it's starting to get dark out. And I'm like,
honestly, yeah, but
so it told me to keep the light off. And I'm like,
I mean, it looks really good, but I understand it's going to get dark.
Yeah. But yeah,
we'll
so
just be figures.
Education, don't let education get in the way of your learning. That is, that's powerful.
There are lots of ways to
that
measure
this last
success
semester.
too. Because some people are like, well, you know, nowadays you need a degree for a lot of things or a certification.
Money. That's how you measure success.
Well, measure your life in, what is it? Measure your life in happiness
Time
or something. What is it?
I don't know. I don't know.
What do you measure your life in?
5,000.
Answer that question for us. What do you measure your life in?
I don't remember the words. What is the number? It's so long. Yeah, that one.
That's how long something downtown.
All right, so we talked about some good stuff. I'm really curious. Yeah, I think we should go ahead and wrap.
So then we can just get on to another conversation where we go through a bunch of topics.
Get on to drinking.
Oh yeah,
no, I'm just kidding. I'm only a little bit of an alcoholic.
I am 21, people. Okay.
Yeah, I gotta look back at this video and listen to audio and make sure it turned out okay because I'm like, this could all be trash. And then, it probably is,
and then for the next one we'll have the SD card. So maybe we were just warming up this time. Maybe we'll be really good.
Yeah.
You know.
Now we're warmed up. We can get to the real really content.
Good.
So.
Yeah, we're gonna be really good.
All right. Not sure if this is gonna get uploaded or not, but if it does, peace and come back next time for some more interesting conversation.
More rambling.
Yeah, more rambling. All right. Godspeed.